The US consumer seems to be on a tear right now. What are you seeing? What can you tell us about what it's like out there to operate at the moment? Do you see any sign of a slowdown? People talking about a recession at the moment. I don't see that in your numbers.
Well, certainly we're taking share at a fantastic pace, and our strategy has been so reliable and consistent, and it leads to reliable, consistent, industry-leading growth. But I don't know to what extent that might be at least partly driven by consumer concerns. You know, if they are starting to show any signs of being concerned about their wallet, that would tend to bring them to a place like T-Mobile where they get a better value and a better network.
I love the salesmanship that Mike brings. I mean, it's just a jacket.
Walmart, so you're the Walmart of
5G,
of the
of mobile.
telco.
It's really a fascinating paradox because this is a company that for the first time in the 35-year tradition of this industry is able to simultaneously offer the lowest prices and the best product. So no one's ever been able to do that before. I mean, we're miles ahead on 5G, and yet our prices are lower.
So 2 questions with that. At what point do you think you're going to have to raise prices? In order to, because you're not going to be able to suck every human being on the planet into T-Mobile, so like at what point do you raise prices?
Well, right now the focus is share taking, but what's really interesting is customers are self-selecting up our rate card. So you know our most popular plan is actually one of our most expensive ones, and that's driving average revenue per account growth up 1.7% year over year this quarter on a per account basis. And so Go 5G Plus is at the high end of our rate card, and customers want more of our network.
So you
That's
don't see
who
a
we're
mature
attracting.
market. So you don't see a mature market from where you sit.
Not for us, because we're share takers. And remember, we have under-penetrated segments like business and enterprise where we're still in the teens, smaller markets in rural areas where we're still sub 20%. You know, this quarter in Q3, for the first time ever in our history, we actually were the share-taking leader in smaller markets in rural areas. Think about that from a company that started as really mostly an urban company many years ago.
Is that 5G? Is that the effect that 5G is having? Is 5G delivering for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's delivering for the American consumer, too. You know, you think about the average consumer, industry-wide, I'm talking about our book, is using 3 times more data than 5 years ago and enjoying 4 times faster speeds, and yet they're paying a fraction of what they were paying years ago on a per-unit basis.
But do you have the capacity to continue to expand that? A lot of that capacity that comes in at the moment is being used on the mobile side. Can you drive the broadband side alongside that to give the similar sort of numbers? This
quarter, once again, 570,000 broadband net additions, more than AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, and Charter combined. So 6th quarter in a row of share-taking leadership in broadband. And we have room to run. We haven't even begun to deploy our 2.5 gigahertz Auction 108 proceeds, our C-band proceeds, our 3.45 spectrum, or wide-scale refarming of our LTE spectrum. So we have lots of room to run with the best 5G spectrum portfolio in the country.
I have a really simplistic question. At some point for 5G, does the system just get overloaded? Like you had so many subscribers that like my phone just gets slower because there's so many people on that network.
It would if we weren't pouring in more and more capacity all the time. That's what the $9 to $10 billion we've outlooked per year in capital is all about.
And you can move capacity enough to prevent that from happening?
Think about it. In a period of 90 days, right now we have 155 megahertz of spectrum dedicated to 5G and mid-band. That's by far and away the leader. By around the end of this year, it'll be 200. So it's moving really quickly as we bring more and more resources to bear to stay right out in front of that capacity.
If customers are going to demand better prices at the top line, pressure's the wrong word, but you're going to see more pushback on prices. Customers are going to want more value in terms of the price that they're paying. Can you take out more and more costs in the middle, continue to invest, and deliver a bottom line?
We can, and that's why we're outlooking, ongoing cash flow improvement like we are. This quarter, $4 billion in operating in free cash flow overall, 94% up from a year ago. And so we're in a phase now where we're starting to realize the scale benefits of this industry. And look, there's lots of fixed costs in this industry. And we can afford to keep taking share, but we're also starting to realize the benefits. EBITDA this quarter, up double digits on the strength of the best top-line service revenue growth in the industry. And so that's a cycle that's really working for our customers, but also for our business model.
So I appreciate the numbers were good. I appreciate that you're going to look on the bright side because you're CEO, so you have to. But what actually is a concern for you? Like, where is T-Mobile not firing on all cylinders? There has to be something. No one's perfect.
Well, we're really interested in moving faster when it comes to rethinking our IT stack and taking advantage of the rapidly moving landscape and technology around us. I think every CEO in America feels like we're late and behind on taking advantage of the AI, innovations that have been presented to us. And so we're moving as as quickly as we can to become much more data-oriented, AI-enabled, and digital-first as a business. Because if we can do that, we can unlock not only new revenue lines, but also operating leverage.
Is that a cost story, or is that a consumer-facing, better experience? How does that manifest itself? How will AI...
Hopefully both. I mean, when someone walks into our store or calls 611 or pulls out their app, we should already know why they're there. You know, AI and data should tell us that so that we can solve their problem. You know, we should know if they've been experiencing a problem and have the answer right there. That would be better for them, and we're getting there. And it would also be better for our operating costs. And so, these digitalization techniques that we're starting to employ now are a win-win for consumers and our business.
So does that mean like less employees? Like is that the T-Mobile of the future? Is that how you see that part of evolving?
What it probably means is we have an opportunity to consolidate our team more and more domestically. You know, we have a lot of our operations are overseas, and we may see a migration towards our domestic team as we get more and more automated. And that's going to allow us to continue to up our game in terms of the quality of service that we provide.
What comes after the mobile phone?
Well, right now, where we are is broadband. You know, we entered broadband 2 years ago from nowhere, and for 6 quarters in a row have been the share-taking leader there. And that's 5G. That's all 5G beaming into your house from our cell tower and giving you the highest net promoter score broadband out there.
But how fast is that spread?
30 points higher net promoter score than cable.
But like, how fast is that spread? Because like, I still can't get that in my building, for example.
Yeah, well, you know, we're working on that. Right now, there's about 50 million homes in the U.S. where if you applied to be our broadband customer, we'd say yes. But it's dynamic. And to your earlier question, we don't want to approve anybody unless we can give every cell phone person on that tower and every broadband person on that tower a great experience.
So,
and broadband users use a lot of data.
I get a lot of stick.
Yeah.
Mainly from this one about using Android phones. But Androids...
Two Android
phones. They're fairly similar in terms of the Apple products, if you actually take a step back and kind of think about it. Have we reached... How do you make these things better? I keep seeing the latest iPhone coming out, and consumers seem to be pushing back a little bit. Maybe they don't need the latest and the greatest, because maybe the evolution, every step isn't that great. How, have we reached the pinnacle of the mobile phone? What else do you do to make this thing better? Can you make it better?
Some of it's the behind-the-scenes technology that the customer only appreciats over time. You know, the newest iPhone 15 Pro has some, I'm going to geek out on you for a minute, has something called four carrier aggregation. And what that means is that the phone can simultaneously talk to 4 different radio bands at once on our network, giving you more capacity and more speeds. And these are the kinds of things that give a great experience, and they're not in the headlines. Right. But you know, what happens is if you get that and you get a great experience from T-Mobile, you may keep the phone a little longer, and our upgrade rates are low because T-Mobile customers are experiencing such fast data.
Do you think people are going to keep their phones longer, particularly if we see an economic slowdown? Is that what do they keep their phones longer, but continue to pay for the service?
I don't think it'll stretch out more. No, I think we're already seeing those low upgrade rates. Our upgrade rate, 2.7% this quarter, was one of the lowest ever. And so you're already in a run rate where, because of the high prices of the phones, people are kind of taking their time. If anything, you know, we're putting out offers out there right now, like our new Go 5G Next program, that allows people to have a look at moving faster if they would like. Because there's an audience that wants a new one every year, like me.